Hi everyone, my name is Ben Hartley with Six Figure Photography. Welcome to our 7-part video series where we're going to be discussing 7 persuasion tricks to instantly book more clients. I want to thank you guys for investing back into your business and becoming a part of the Six Figure Photography community. These 7 videos, essentially $1 a video, is going to provide so much value for your photography business in the years to come. We've implemented these persuasion triggers since year 1, and then across the way we've seen massive growth in just a short amount of time. And I want to show you how you can implement these triggers to grow your business, to increase your bookings, and ultimately increase your revenue. The way that we're going to break these down is we're going to take each trigger, we're going to define it, discuss what it means. We're going to look at a case study outside of our industry. All right, an example case that we're going to be able to kind of explain and break down, learn more about the trigger and the technique. And then we're going to look at my photography company, Style & Story Creative, and I'm going to show you exactly how I use each trigger within each part of our business, once again, to increase our bookings and ultimately increase our revenue. Number 1, our first persuasion trigger that we're going to be looking at is the contrast principle. The contrast principle states that an individual will base all subsequent pieces of information off of the initial piece of information. So whatever is presented to them first will define and ultimately affect their response to the next bit of information and everything else that follows, okay? I want to tell you a story to better illustrate exactly how this plays out. In this example, I'm going to use my experience with Men's Warehouse and how they use the contrast principle in a very specific way in regards to a downsell. And so it was about 2 years ago, and I needed a new suit. And so when I walked in to Men's Warehouse, the accountant there, the teller, the guy running behind the desk, of course, runs right up to me and starts to take me down the line of suits. As we start off, I'm loving the things that he's showing me, and then I get to the point where I say, well, how much is this thing? I love this suit, but how much is it? And quite frankly, it was just way out of my price point, over $1,000. Then he starts to show me a few other options that are in like the $500 range. And so suddenly now, $500 does not seem that steep of a price when contrasted against the first piece of information that I had received, the $1,000 suit. Now, this plays out further because I ended up getting a suit, and as soon as I pulled the trigger on the suit, the next thing that followed was, well, fantastic! You have this gorgeous, crisp, sharp suit. We need to get you a brand new pocket square to go in it. It's only $50. Well, at this point, I'm only 500 deep in. What's another $50? And it would continue to trickle down this way. What about a tie clip? So, like these tie clips are $25 today. You can't have the pocket square without the tie clip. And the thing that I want to bring attention to is it's the first bit of information that makes this principle work. If I were to have walked into Men's Warehouse and he started with a $25 tie clip and then moved up to the $50 pocket square, and then moved up to the $500 suit, like I'm going to be feeling like, oh man, I'm spending more and more money. Things are getting more and more expensive. That tie clip was only $25, and now I'm at a $500 suit. And so it works really well to start with your largest, highest price first. So now that you understand this story, let's take a look at how we implement it into Style & Story Creative. Okay. The first and number 1 way that we implement the contrast principle is through price anchoring. Price anchoring follows that we're going to show our highest price first, our largest collection first. And not only are we going to show it first, but the largest package should be much higher than the next collection down. So let's take a look at our package options here. On the far left, we have the wedding day package at $15,000. It's so important that we're showing it on the left, but it's $15,000. When clients sit down and they see that, they go, oh man. And then they go to the going steady package and they see, oh, 74. Oh, that's not too bad relative to 15,000. That is the contrast principle at work, showing your largest package first and at a great price, and then going down to something that now seems like so much more of a value and so much more accessible for us to accept. Collection presentation, I just mentioned this, but we are showing the wedding day package first. It has to be the first bit of information that the client receives. That's what everything else is based off of. If we start with the first date package at $4,450, then we start going up to the mixtape, and then going studying the wedding day, it's going to be really hard to accept those price increases as you go. It no longer feels like a value or you're saving money. The contrast principle simply does not work unless you start high and then you move down lower. This is a similar thing that we use in regards to album upgrades. So when we're selling an album, we're always starting with the base album price first. All right, a 30-page 8x8 memory book is $1,000. When we're sitting down to discuss this, we start with that. If that purchase is made, at that point then we can discuss, well, would you like to add a custom cover imprinting for $100? That jump to go from, well, we've already spent $1,000, what's another $100, is the contrast principle at work. And it's a very subtle thing, but it actually has great impact. The contrast trigger can be one of the strongest rules of influence in regards to maximizing revenue. Implement these 3 things and see the return. Next up, guys, we're going to be jumping in to the following persuasion trigger: reciprocation.